Hey, what's up, guys? Thank you for watching this video. This is my first video here, and I hope you like it. And if you do, please do press the like button and subscribe. Also, please leave a comment if you find anything interesting about the video or any questions. So, what I have here is the brand new PSA1 Plus from Rode. So I have the PSA1 model, which is the previous model, and it has been like an industry standard for quite a while, and I know it's been widely regarded as one of the best studio arms out there. Not just because of the price, but because it just simply works and carries heavier microphones as well. So I got this right after they launched or announced, and I was interested to see and compare it with the PSA1. So the retail price here in Australian dollars is $199. I got this slightly lower because of that 20% discount for online purchase. So I got this around 170 plus. So this is what comes in. This is the box, and it shows the brand new studio arm. And of course, in the box, you get to see the different claims in terms of marketing and easy positioning, those kind of stuff, parallel movement, which also applies to the original PSA1. So nothing has changed here quite a bit. And also, what else can we see? All those descriptions. So this box would contain the studio arm itself, the desk clamp, the desk insert, and the adapter for your different types of microphones. So let's get this open up and see what are the stuff inside. I mean, we already know what's inside, but let's do this anyway. So once we open the box, then we get to see the studio arm itself. It has this protective sleeve with a warning, just to take note that since this is a spring-loaded arm, it tends to swing outwards, and you need to be careful because it will swing out and hit anything in its path. It could hit your face directly and smack you directly in the face, and or your equipment. So we also have this desk insert, which I haven't used even from the previous models, because this really means you need to fix. You have a fixed location for your arms. That means if your desk doesn't have a dedicated hole for this, you need to drill into your desk. Then we also have the desk clamp, which probably would be the solution for most of us. This is the desk clamp, or this is the solution that I'll be also using, which allows me to have a bit of flexibility to move things around, and I don't need to fix this on a location. So with the desk clamp, I can also be mobile and move my arm in another table if I want to. Then you got the PSA1 Plus quick start guide showing you how to install and stuff like that. So it's quite intuitive. You don't really need to read this, but it's there anyway for those of you who choose to read the quick start guides. Okay, so let's get this sleeve out. So I know the previous PSA1 just has like a paper sleeve, which is like easier to take out, but this one comes with this like really tight cardboard sleeve, which is a bit tough to take out if you are a weakling like me. So yes, Okay, so again, please be careful because this tends to swing out because it's spring loaded, and it will just doesn't care what you do, so it just springs out and hits you in the face if you're not careful enough. So just by the first impression look of this one looks and feels the same as the previous one. There are subtle differences, or I think it's not subtle but huge differences in terms of the mounting portion where you put your mics in. So they got this bigger knobs. So we'll try to compare them side by side later. And the rest, it has this neoprene sleeve, which has this plastic clips that you can mount or put through your cables. So the rest of the hinges is the same. It's the same. I guess I don't know about internals. I haven't opened one personally, but yeah, it looks the same, feels the same. So the additional would be this sleeve. So I got here the two models side by side. The one on top is obviously the PSA1, and the one at the bottom is the PSA1 Plus. I also got here all the components that came with the box, the desk insert, and the desk clamp. So let's compare them one by one, starting with the desk clamp. So the desk clamp from the previous one and the One Plus is exactly the same. They feel the same, they weigh the same, and the components are the same. One thing that differs them, obviously, as you can see, would be the additional rubber elements that's been added here in the clamp itself. So you got the rubber padding here. This one would be the one that clamps against the underside of your table. Also, there's rubber tips on the lever, so the lever that helps you rotate and tighten this screw into the desk. So for the PSA1, it doesn't have one, so this white felt here, I added it myself because with the felt you got a bit more grip or friction, so it stands more secure. And I on the lever that holds the screws, it doesn't have that rubber tip. So why I think this is important for me, because this helps you, like I have scratched my knees a couple of times because of this. When it's in the under of your desk, you could easily hit it. Then with these rubber tips now, then there's a little bit of protection, and with that added rubber, then more friction. So moving on to the desk insert. So the previous one is quite smaller. So in terms of function, once you have a hole and you screw this in, there's no way for the cables to go through. It doesn't go under the desk as well. So it just lays flat on your desk or wherever until it goes to your interface or your mixer. So with this new desk insert that they have in the PSA1 Plus, so you get this bigger flange with this dedicated hole, this D-shaped holes. So this would effectively be the cable management solution. You can just insert your cables through here, whether it's an XLR or a USB, then you can get a cleaner setup. Yep. In terms of look, that's more or less subjective. Of course, I like this newer look versus the older one. It's matte. It's like a gold champagne kind of finish versus the chrome. I also like the chrome one, but in terms of function, I believe this one would give you more stability, being it wider, and you have the additional cable management solution with it. So in terms of digging the hole, then you can not digging but drilling a hole, then you can drill a bigger hole for this, so you allow the cables also to pass through. So maybe that's a downside or not. it depends. But this one is really for permanent solutions. So once you drill a hole in your desk, it stays there forever. So again, I haven't used one personally. I used the desk clamp because it's much more flexible and easier. Okay, so let's take a look at the arms itself. So the hinges, the pivoting hinges of this arm exactly looks the same as the previous PSA1. The only visible difference in terms of this location here is the mounting portion where you mount your microphones. Obviously the finish is different, but the screws and the knobs are much more larger on the PSA1 versus the PSA1 Plus versus the PSA1. I feel this one, once you rotate this, you get a bit more grip. Even the knobs here really feels different. The other one a bit shiny, then a bit more slippery. But it doesn't mean it's like nitpicking. You can still, of course, tighten it. It's not an issue. Okay, so again, in terms of look and feel, they look different. Obviously, with the one being shiny, the other one being matte. But the big thing here are really the size of the knobs. And because it is matte finish, you have a bit more friction to rotate versus a shiny object, which is a bit more slippier. It's just what it is. Shiny one, you get less friction, get slippery. The matte one, then you get a bit more grip, and it also helps that these are a bit bigger, so you have more leverage overall. So I guess mounting your microphones would be a bit easier in this new PSA1 Plus versus the PSA1. So let's take a closer look at this. So again, there are subtle differences. Like now, adjusting the microphone and the whole assembly itself, they are now beside each other. The previous PSA1, you got it on the tip. So this one here, you can easily rotate the whole thing. Then you can also adjust and tighten your microphone depending on the depth of the screw. So this whole thing here is easier to just rotate and adjust. Again, the diameter of this are much more bigger than the previous one. In terms of feel, of course, it feels smooth. That's a given. In terms of quality, it's a Rode, so quality is still there. So still very good and sturdy. And you get this bigger gap between the hinge or the main hinge, so you can still pass through your cables or a cable or two if you're using both a USB and an XLR cable. So you got a bit more wiggle room here versus the previous one. So let's put this side by side so you can see the difference on how this extra size or the knobs differs. Like on the PSA1, it's just a very simple knob. It's shiny and it tends to become slippery once you tighten your equipment in and position it. The other one being matte, it's plastic but get a bit more friction. So pros and cons, I'll go with the matte one obviously because you got more positioning, and the length for the PSA1 is a bit taller as well, which also would probably help in different scenarios of the microphone. Okay, so I have them here side by side, and they, in terms of movement, I would say this One Plus is more smoother. So maybe they did some improvements on the spring, and it says it can carry a bit more range of different microphones from lighter to heavier. So there's a bit more tension. As you can see, the PSA1 without the microphone just swings up. So the One Plus has more control in terms of the movement. So it's a bit more quieter too, in my experience, like a smoother. Once you swing this back and forth, it's smoother. So let's try to install the microphone here and check how it would look. So I got here the SM7B. And again, because it has bigger knobs, then it's easier to hold it and rotate it. So the adjustment is, for me, is a bit quicker versus the PSA1. So definitely a good upgrade compared to the PSA1. So they are easier to handle, very quick and easy. So yeah, it carries the SM7B, no issues, no problem at all. So I installed the cable for the microphone and use the cable management solution that's integrated into this neoprene sleeve. I would say it's pretty good, but I wouldn't just upgrade just because of this cable management. Using the Velcro in the PSA1 is fine, doesn't add any additional value. Visually, of course, having this in the PSA1 Plus makes it cleaner, but you also have that huge Rode branding, which might be polarizing for some. So again, if you upgrade just because of the cable management, don't bother, go with the PSA1. But if you want a smoother experience and easier change of microphones, go with this. So let's take a look at the cable management while we're here. So as you can see, it has like a 2 channels here. So you could effectively put in a USB cable, which is thinner. So this one would apply if you have a dual microphone, like a USB and an XLR, and you want to use both. So you can effectively put in the USB cable first and also put in the XLR cable as well. So it would serve 2 cables at the same time. Then this 2 would go straight into your microphone and you can plug it. You can unplug both. So obviously this one only applies for those microphones with dual inputs like the MV7 and similar microphones out there. So, but if you don't use it, then it works fine with one, or if you just use USB, also works fine. But if you want to use both, then you got this solution as well. So these are just plastic clips, but it does its job. It's pretty tight. So yes, so that's my overview and comparison of the PSA1 and the PSA1 Plus. So guys, thank you for watching, and if you like it, please hit that like button, hit subscribe so I can continue to make other videos similar to this, and hopefully see you on the next one. Keep safe and see ya.